What's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house. It's Monday, so you know what that means. It's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk Live. As usual, I have another jam-packed show tonight in store for you guys today. We got to talk about the Chiefs. Did they get their swagger back? Did they get it back? I don't know. Is there trouble in Tampa Bay? Buccaneers dropped their last two, especially coming off of a bye week. That's a very interesting. I'll give you my thoughts on that. The Patriots and Mac Jones, Bill Belichick. At first, I was thinking they have a shot to make the playoffs, but I think now they might actually have a chance to win the AFC East. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. And Cam Newton is back in the league. He didn't start, but he finished the game really strong, 2 touchdowns against Arizona. And in his return back to Carolina, I got to talk about that. And finally, I got to give you guys my clutch and not so much picks of the week. It's pretty funny as usual, at least to me it is. So anyway, without further ado, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. What's up? Welcome back in, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. It's Monday, beginning of a new week. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. Hey, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Flowers. This is a little show that I do called Clutch Sports Talk Live. If this is your first time in the live, man, well, welcome. I appreciate you guys. Hey, we talk about everything here, man. If you want to get in the comment section, be my guest. Make sure to as well share the content and like it, man. I can't stress that. It's really important for me, especially for my brand, to continue to keep growing. And I appreciate all the supporters that I have out there. Thank you guys. You're the reason why I keep coming on here Mondays and Sundays doing what I do. Also, if you have not already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Clutch Sports Talk Live podcast. Look, it's legit. You can catch up on all my other lives in the past. I have some other content on there that's pretty unique as well to the page as well. So, hey, but other than that, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are hanging in there. It's Monday. We got a big Monday night game today too. Odell Beckham Jr. gets his first start at the Rams against the San Francisco 49ers. That'll be interesting. That game kicks off, I believe, in about an hour 15 minutes. So we'll be done before then. But anyway, where should I start? Let's start what happened last night here in the AFC West. Or actually here specifically in Las Vegas. That's where I reside at. The Kansas City Chiefs roll into Vegas, into Allegiant Stadium, and they pound on the Las Vegas Raiders, right? They hung up 40-something points on the Raiders and only giving up 14 points. The question now, are the Chiefs back? Now, they've assumed first place in the AFC West, which is crazy to me because literally, the Chargers were in contention right there. The Raiders were winning there for a minute. And now, a couple of weeks ago, even on this show, I didn't even think the Chiefs would even make the playoffs, but they're back in first place now. Now, did they get their swagger back? I don't know. Here's my thoughts on this. So, first of all, you got to think about who you're playing. Now, I did pick the Raiders to win. I thought the Raiders, usually in this spot, they've come through for me in the last couple of times. I picked them to win in games like this, especially like a primetime game. They didn't come through. One thing I noticed last night that I haven't seen Patrick Mahomes do in the last couple of weeks, he was just taking what they gave him. He wasn't trying to force the ball too deep. And he got away with some plays last night, but I think with a more formidable defense, maybe those plays would be turnovers. But last night, the Raiders said, you know what? We're not going to give you the over-top stuff. We're going to keep everything in front of us. And that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes did. I mean, literally, he was completing little 10, 15-yard passes to guys. Guys were running, even less than that. And that's exactly what they did throughout most of the game. Now, he did throw for over 400 yards, so he did have to push the ball down the field at some point, which he was able to do. I don't think they ran the ball enough in my case, but Andy Reid just doesn't run the football. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to still come back to bite them, especially when you play a tough team. Now, did they get their swagger back? I wouldn't say all the way. They're look, I think here's the thing. We have to get past this notion that they're the same Super Bowl champion team that won that year. And even last year, the way they're able to move the football down the field, they're not going to really be doing that. I think teams, I won't say they figured them out, but I will say teams they're not going to be able to, they're not going to live with them just going over the top all the time. Teams are going to say, you know what? You're going to have to just throw those check down passes to Kelsey or your running backs. We're not going to let you go deep with Tyreek Hill. And if that does happen, good on you. So I still think they're going to take their shots. One thing I did notice with Patrick Mahomes too, when he did go deep, he was off a little bit. He was off at least the Patrick Mahomes I've seen in the past, he throws that deep ball beautiful, better than anybody in the league. I would say maybe next to Aaron Rodgers, right? But he overthrew guys, and I don't know if he purposely overthrew them because he was afraid that if he tried to put it more pinpoint accuracy, maybe he gets picked off because he underthrows it. I don't know. He should have had a pick last night, but Jonathan Abrams, I mean, God, you Raider fans, I know you guys liked him at first because he was a hard hitter, but the guy can't cover. I don't think he's that great of a player. He's all right. He's serviceable, but he literally had an interception go right through his hands, ends up being a touchdown. Who knows? But did they get their swagger back? I don't know. This conference, this division is up and down. I think we're starting to see now, maybe just maybe now, the Chiefs have maybe righted the ship a little bit, because look, they still got to play the Raiders one more time, at home, which they probably should win that game, right? They still have a matchup against the Chiefs, which they have to go, not the Chiefs, the Chargers, which they have to go on the road to. And maybe the Broncos maybe give them a run for the money. I don't know. I don't see that. I think right now, even though the Chargers lost yesterday, it's going to be between the Chargers and the Chiefs to win this division. And the Chargers definitely have the offense that can match them. The problem last night with the Raiders is that they have no offense. I know Henry Ruggs wasn't this world beater type of receiver, but he kind of helped their offense. He stretched the field a little bit more. They bring in Deshaun Jackson, which I don't even think he's going to last the rest of the season there. He had a bonehead play, but it's time for him to hang him up. He's not the same player he once was before. Darren Waller really just doesn't get the touches anymore. Their running game is really non-existent for the most part. Josh Jacobs was looking like he was primed to have a very fruitful season, but it just hasn't come to fruition. And I don't really know what they're doing. I don't know what they're. And Derek Carr, even though I've defended him multiple times on this show, he's serviceable. He's a good quarterback, but I don't know if he's the guy. And I thought he was the guy. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of play calling, but he holds onto the ball a little bit too long for my liking, and then the turnover situation. So I'm not sure what they're doing there, but the Chiefs are now set up. The problem with the Chiefs is that their offense wasn't that great. Now, their defense has been very maligned this season, but let's just be real. Their defense has not been strong even during their Super Bowl runs, right? The last 3 or 4 years, their defense is not great. And their defense is worse. They're giving up more yards, more touchdowns this year. So their offense is going to literally have to will them to win these games. Now, they have a tough matchup next week with my Cowboys coming into town. They are 2.5 favorites at home, which I get it. It's Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes, it looked like they got their swagger back. But will the Dallas Cowboys be able to come in there, run the football, which I think they should, because their D-line isn't that great anymore, even though they do have some really good pass rushers in Jones and Chris Jones, and they picked up Melvin Ingram in the trade deadline. So we'll see. Frank Clark still injured a little bit, but it's their secondary. And right now, if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, that receiving core that they have now, they are missing a tight end. He's out, but Michael Gallup returned this weekend. CeeDee Lamb had a phenomenal game. Amari Cooper's still there. Tony Pollard can catch balls out the backfield. Listen, this is going to be a good game. And if the Chiefs can win this game, I'll be more than happy to come on and say, you know what? Maybe they did get their swagger back, depending on how the game is won, right? But if they come in and they get shelled by the Cowboys, which it could happen that way if the Cowboys run the football effectively, because the best way to slow down a team like the Chiefs, run the football, you play time of possession, and if you don't let anything go behind you, you should have an opportunity. And with Trayvon Diggs back there, it can go either way. Trayvon Diggs is a very ball-hawking type of cornerback. So look, he's going to be looking to make plays, and if he does so, he might get caught in the act, and Mahomes is definitely capable of throwing over the top. So the matchup between him and Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, and Trayvon Diggs is going to be very interesting come Sunday, because look, I think the Chiefs, maybe they're going to be all right. I think they can still make the playoffs, but they got to win this division. They got to win this division, which is very winnable now. So they won their last couple games in a row. So they're looking pretty solid as we move forward. So, but to say they're fully back, I wouldn't say they're fully back, but I will say that they're formidable again, as long as they can kind of slow down some teams. But again, you played the Raiders last night, and no offense to Raider fans and Raider Nation, you guys know what you are. You guys were probably frauds from the outset. You've done this every year for the last couple of years. You start hot, win a couple games, probably games you probably shouldn't win, and then you go out, you lose to the Giants, and then you show like you have no life when you come back home on a Sunday night game. I just don't get that. So, but the Chiefs and their swagger, I would say to be determined yet. I think they're on the path. As long as you got Patrick Mahomes, you're going to be in any game. That's the reality of it all. So that's where I'll leave it there, and I'll move on from there. So speaking of swagger and not having swagger, Tampa Bay, what's going on there, man? Like, I feel like we were talking about this around the same exact time last year. And look what happened. They ended up winning a Super Bowl. They went on this tremendous run. They won their last like 8 games in a row and whatever. The rest is history. But this one's a little concerning to me. And it's been the same problems that they've had throughout the season. They're secondary. They're just injured. They're just injured. I mean, they got guys back there who are at best third or fourth strings. Richard Sherman, they signed him off the street. I mean, look, let's just be real. The guy had been not playing football, right, for a couple months. Had the legal situation. You bring him back. Actually, you bring him back, you try to work him in a little bit. He wasn't even supposed to even play against the Patriots. He ends up playing that week. It's hard for a guy. I don't care if you're a good athlete or in shape or not. It's hard from going from being stagnant to be at a high level. And obviously, he's older, so he's hurt again. So their secondary is really having some issues. Tom Brady did not have a good game the last 2 games out against the Saints, which is a phenomenal defense they get after the quarterback. And then yesterday against, I mean, really, how did you lose to the Washington football team? I don't get it. But I picked them to cover it. Obviously, they didn't even win. I don't know. Maybe Tyler Heineke has the Buccaneers number because this was a matchup from the divisional round last year in the playoffs, and Heineke actually pushed the Buccaneers to the brink. Maybe not so close to the brink, but he pushed them a little bit, and they did whatever they wanted to do with the ball. And honestly, I don't know who to blame, but I would say it would start with the defense. You give up 29 points or 20-something points to a team with really no offensive prowess. I don't understand how that happens. And Tom Brady does need to shoulder some of the load. You only managed 19 points against a team really that going into the season was ranked as a top defensive unit. But honestly, they haven't even lived up to that bill. So I don't know. The NFL is crazy. It's week to week. We don't know what happens. You saw what happened to my Cowboys last week, and then you see what they did to the Falcons, and then you saw what the Falcons did to the Saints the week before. So who knows? But is it cause for concern all the way? No, not necessarily. I don't think it's cause for concern, but it's not going to be as clear cut as people think it is or should be. The NFC is tough. The NFC is tough. I mean, and there are a lot of teams in the NFC that can throw the ball. And right now, the weakness for Tampa Bay, just like the Kansas City Chiefs, is that their secondary is atrocious. And the problem is with the upside for the Buccaneers is that those guys can get healthy and get back on the field. The Chiefs secondary, they are what they are. I mean, that's just what it is. So, Ben Bruce Arians came out in a press conference yesterday. They asked, what were the problems and blah, blah, blah. And he said he has to play better. And who's he? He's talking about Tom Brady, man. So I don't think their relationship is as friendly as maybe we think it is. I think it's a very solid working relationship nonetheless, but I don't think it's like, raindrops and rainbows. You know what I mean? So, but Tom Brady's a professional. He knows what it is. He knows what they have to do. He's going to have to put this team on his back and carry them to a playoff run. They'll make the playoffs. They'll probably end up winning the division if they can beat the Saints, obviously, right? A team that they've lost to the last couple of times out in the regular season, excluding the playoff win. So is there trouble in Tampa? Not necessarily. Look, like I said a couple minutes ago, it's the National Football League, man. You're going to get the best out of everybody week to week. So really, am I surprised? Yes, I'm surprised at the outcome. But at the end of the day, if they play again today, the Washington Football Team, Tampa Bay wins that game running away, right? So you have to manage these games. That's why you can't just come out and say, "Oh, this team is the best," because we don't know. We don't know. We just have no clue. You just have to see for whatever it's worth, and that's how we're going to do that. But I still think Tampa will have something to say. They're the reigning champs. You can't just count them out. You can't discount them. They will have a say in the end whether who's going to go to the Super Bowl in LA. They'll be in the mix. Why? Because they have a guy named Tom Brady. And if you have a guy like that back there calling your plays and snapping the ball, you definitely have a chance to win any type of championship if he's back there playing. So, just something to think about. Just don't. I'm not gonna panic because a lot of people like to panic, right? I don't panic. Last week when the Cowboys got blown out, I just say, I chalked it up to, they weren't ready to play. And kudos to Denver Broncos. It happens. It happens. Sometimes you just don't get up for those types of games. You read the press clippings. Everyone's telling you you're great. The team that's coming in to play you, they're not so great. Guess what? They're motivated. They hear the same things that you hear, right? And if you buy into that, then you're not as prepared as the other team is. And that's exactly what happened. I know And I know you watch these shows and you're like, oh, the Cowboys are not one of the, like, look, let's just be real. Those shows to me are fictional. What you're getting from me now is very realistic. They are paid to say certain things. That's just my estimation. They are paid to say certain things to get ratings, right? And it sounds nice for Stephen A to hate on the Cowboys. Why? Because the Cowboys have one of the most largest fan bases in all of professional sports. So you want to antagonize a sports group like that, you say something bad about one of the most popular teams in sports history. You're gonna get a result. You're gonna get a response from somebody. So it's all hearsay. It's all a lot of clickbait for me. But I'm here to tell you the truth, and this is what it is. So I'm not gonna say there's trouble. I mean, obviously that's what the header says. I'm just saying, there is some slight cause for concern, and I'll leave it at that. All right. No concern in a team in the Northeast. The New England Patriots not only defeated, they mopped the floor with the Cleveland Browns yesterday. Mac Jones throwing the ball. Now, I don't think he even broke 200 yards, but listen, one thing I will say about New England's teams with Belichick under control, their defense will be good. Now, Baker Mayfield did not look like the future in Cleveland. Now, it's weird because coming off of a exhilarating win the week before against Cincinnati, where they did whatever they wanted to do, especially after releasing OBJ. You go to Foxborough and you get throttled, and then he leaves the game with an injury. But back to the Patriots, I was not high on Mac Jones. As far as his potential, his ceiling, I think he's almost there. He's not naturally gifted like the other guys that were taken in front of him or even after him, but I think he fell in the right situation. And sometimes not being great and having all the talent won't diminish how well you're going to be or how successful you are. It matters about the situation that you're put into. You can have all the talent. You look at Trevor Lawrence, naturally gifted, strong arm, mobile, got the hair flowing, looks like a quarterback, but he's in Jacksonville. You put him in New England, what does that team look like even more so? Mac Jones is making the plays he needs to make. And one thing that he's doing that I've noticed the last couple of weeks, he's preserving the football. He's not turning it over the way he was turning it over earlier in the season. Why? Because he's pressing. He's a rookie. He's saying, you know what? I don't need to go out and actually win these games. I just can't go out and lose these games. You got a great defense. Now, we talk about their offense not being the greatest, right? I get it. They don't have really anybody out there that you're like, strikes fear in your heart, like Kendrick Bourne, N'Keal Harry. There's some other guys I don't even really know out there. But listen, one thing about football, it's not about superstars. It's not like the NBA, man. It's good. It's nice to have a superstar, but in a team, like a totally team-driven sport where people are so reliant and dependent on one another, you have to play cohesive unit type football. And they're doing that. Their defense is playing well. Their offense is doing what it needs to do. And honestly, and as far as the AFC East is concerned, I was never sold on the Buffalo Bills, to be honest with you. And I'm going to pull up their record right now, but let me see here. What's the record for the for the Buffalo Bills? And I think the Buffalo Bills are a solid unit, right? They're solid, right? There's no debating that. But to me, are they that talented? And I don't think so. We haven't really talked that much about Josh Allen this season, and I'm just pulling up the stats right now. Um, a lot of people were swinging from Josh Allen. I mean, so right now they're 6-3. I mean, 6-3. Patriots are 6-4, and they got a couple meetings here in the next couple weeks, which might determine this division. Honestly, a lot of people thought the Bills were just going to run away with this division, but I thought the Patriots. Listen, the Patriots had an opportunity last year with Cam Newton, right? And I'm going to talk to you about him next. If Cam Newton's on this team, they're probably just as good as well. I don't think Cam Newton really got the fair shake that he probably deserved there in New England, but they said, what, we got the young guy. We're going to go with him. We really don't see a future with Cam Newton as much as we see a future with Mac Jones. So that's why they let him go, obviously, right? Okay. But the Patriots are right in the mix of things. And right now, what I'm noticing too with Mac Jones, he's got a nice little thing going with Hunter Henry, the tight end from San Diego, who they picked up in the offseason. He's back from injury. They got a good thing going. And one thing for sure, with young quarterbacks, who do they always go to first? Tight ends. And Hunter Henry is a very athletic type tight end, not a traditional inline blocker. He's a vertical type guy. And guess what? That's what they need in this offense. Now, they didn't do anything to stretch the field a little bit. I thought maybe they make a run to Deshaun Jackson. Maybe they did. Maybe he didn't want to go there. Obviously, OBJ was on the market. He didn't want to go there, right? He wants to win right now. He wants to build his brand. But look, this team could beat the Buffalo Bills. Outside of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, which Stephon Diggs is really not. I mean, he's probably having a solid season, but he's not having this out of pocket type of, out of this world type of year, right? Not like he did last year, and neither is Josh Allen. So they can easily go out and win these games. And why not? Their defense is strong, and they're running the football effectively, which is something that we probably thought they couldn't do, because like, who's their running back, right? Cam Newton was the majority of their running plays last year. He's gone, but they're still running the football. They're limiting their possessions. One thing about New England teams, you'll always know, they do not make mistakes. They make you make mistakes, and they capitalize on those mistakes. So as much as I don't like New England, I respect the hell out of them. And I think that there's a good chance they can actually win this division and make the playoffs and be one of the top 4 seeds in the AFC. Because I don't think that the Buffalo Bills are going to be running away with this division. And some people might think I'm crazy, but they're close in record. There's 1 is 6-4, 1 is 6-3. And like I said before, let me look at their schedule real quick. Who do they got coming down the pike? But so Buffalo, I know the Patriots have the Falcons this Thursday night, a game that they should absolutely win. And then now you got the Buffalo Bills. You know, they got they got the Colts, which is going to be a tough out. The Colts are solid. Then the Saints, New England, Tampa Bay, Carolina, New England, and then they finish off with Atlanta and New York. That's pretty rough. And then let's look at the I'm going to look at the New England Patriots schedule. So like I said, they got the Falcons coming up Thursday night, Tennessee, which will be a tough one, Buffalo, Indianapolis, Buffalo again, Jacksonville, Miami. So honestly, it might come down to week 16. Who knows? Who knows if these teams split? So shout out to them. So we got some comments here. Let's see what's going on. Sports Scoop, what's up? How you guys doing? Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. Great show. Thank you. Trying my best. But listen, the Patriots are definitely in a position right now. It's wide open. The AFC is wide open. Realistically, here, let me see if I can pull up the actual AFC overall, right? Like really, like it's crazy to me. Who's running away with the AFC right now? Anybody? I mean, really, outside of Tennessee, right? And they may fall back down, right? Who knows? Who knows? So right now, you're looking at, let's see, the AFC right now. The top team right now is the Tennessee Titans. The Buffalo Bills are second at 6-3. The Patriots are right in there right now. The Steelers are in here. So there's a lot of teams in the hunt. So me saying that the Patriots are in the hunt is not crazy. It's not crazy. And my boy Barry Grant, I will give Barry Grant his flowers, because I remember draft night, which was a long show. I don't even know how I remember this, but it was a long show. I spent 4.5 hours straight live, no break, no commercials, nothing like that. And when Mac Jones was picked, my boy Barry Grant, All Even Podcast, he was high on him. So I will give him his flowers right here and now. Now, as long as he don't talk about Dak Prescott, we're cool, right? But anyway, but let me know what you guys think. Am I far off? Are the Patriots not in contention to at least win the AFC East now? I mean, before we were just talking about them. Well, they might limp into the playoffs, but this team could actually probably win 10 games. Who would have thought that? A rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback with a team that's not offensively, doesn't really wow anybody, but they're right there in the mix. So I'm kind of happy for them, because you know what? I think Bill Belichick was getting a lot of hate because Tom Brady left, goes to Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl. Now all of a sudden, Bill Belichick can't coach. Bill Belichick is a great coach, one of the greatest football coaches, one of the greatest football minds in all of football history. The guy can coach. He knows what he's doing. Okay. So yes, Tom Brady left. And as of right now, it looks like he won that marriage, but there's still a long road. I'm not going to say the Patriots are going to go out and win the Super Bowl, but if Mac Daddy Jones, as Barry Grant says, if he becomes the guy, who knows what can happen? Who knows? Maybe we'll get another 20 years of this. I don't know, but moving along. He's back. Cam Newton suited up, booted up. He's back in Carolina. Made his debut again, re-debut yesterday afternoon in Arizona against the Cardinals. I believe he threw for a touchdown and rushed for a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Now he didn't get the start. PJ Walker did, who I like. I like PJ Walker. I liked him when he played at Temple. I liked what he did in the XFL. He had a nice little run in Indianapolis, but they didn't give him any burn there. They cut him. But PJ Walker's a good guy. But you bring back Cam Newton for one reason and one reason only, to stabilize your franchise. I think Sam Darnold is done. Even though they picked up his option, I think you got to move off him. I think now, if you're the Carolina Panthers, you got to figure out a way to foist him on somebody else. You got to talk him up like it's what's that movie, The Nutty Professor. You got to be like, oh, Sam Darnold's Hercules. Like, you got to do something, because the tape is out and it ain't looking good for Sam Darnold. And just the leadership. You saw Cam Newton, and during one of the clips of the game yesterday, it's like he never left Carolina. He had the guys huddled around him. One thing about his energy, it's very electric. He brings you in. It's like magnetizing. I don't even know if that's a word. Maybe I made up a word. Sam Darnold's not that guy. And to play quarterback, you have to be an alpha male. You got to be the guy. The buck starts at you. Now, I don't like his fashion, but I do like his leadership. Now, could he be a little bit over the top? Yeah. He says what he feels, so fine, whatever. I can appreciate that. But is he going to be the future in Carolina? No, because he's older, but they need to go out and get a quarterback. But listen, you bring him back because you feel like you got a chance to make a run for the playoffs. Because right now with Sam Darnold, if he comes back today, they're not making no playoffs because he's going to throw the game away. And what I saw from Cam Newton yesterday was what is the formula for him. He's never going to be a pretty accurate thrower. That's not his game. When he won his MVP, it wasn't because he was making plays with his arm. It was because he's making plays with his legs. I believe he had like 10 or 12 rushing touchdowns that year, and it might even be more than that for you people who check stats like that. I'm just going off the top of my dome, right? But that's the reason why he won that MVP. It ain't because he was throwing, his accuracy was 80% and above. He's never been that guy. He's electric. He can run. He's a big body guy. That's what he does. And exactly, you pair him with a Christian McCaffrey, who's coming off an injury, looking pretty solid as well. Their wide receiving crew is looking pretty good. DJ Moore, I liked him when he came out of Maryland. Robbie Anderson's probably happy now. So listen, their defense has always been pretty solid for the most part. Now Cam Newton's back. He brings that leadership. He's been there before. I think he's comfortable. I think he's happy to be there, right? I think he has some left in the tank. He absolutely does. If Joe Flacco can be a backup in the National Football League, and granted, Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl, but that's a long time ago. Cam Newton can most absolutely start in this league. That's all I'm saying. So it was good to see him back. I love seeing him back there. And speaking, let's look at the. I'm going to look at the NFC right now. Let's see what's going on there. So right now, Carolina would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're outside looking in right now, right? They're right there behind the Saints at 5-5. That was a big win, and they got some meaningful games coming up. And can he bring stability? So right now they got the Washington football team next week, so that'll be a nice little reunion between him and Ron Rivera. He should get the start. I like PJ Walker, but Cam Newton's there. He's got to get the start, right? And why not? And then you got the Dolphins, who are coming off a pretty good win against the Ravens, but that's a winnable game for Carolina. You got the Falcons, the Bills, Buccaneers, Saints, Buccaneers. So they got some tough stretch down the road. But if any guy's going to help them do that, maybe Cam Newton brings that energy back to this organization, and maybe they sneak their way. They're not going to win the division, right? So they're going to have to win out a lot of games. And who knows? Maybe they push toward that division, but the Saints are going to bounce back after their loss, and also Tampa Bay is going to bounce back as well. So, but I'm glad that Cam Newton was back. And oddly enough, 10 years ago in 2011, he played a game in Arizona. It was his debut, and I was actually at that game. I was excited to see him play. I loved watching him in college. So me and a friend, we drove down to Arizona, and when I saw him, I was like, that's a big dude. And he lit it up. I think he said something like a rookie record. He's threw for like 4 touchdowns, over 400 yards. And then he comes back 10 years later, almost to the day. Oh, no, so 10 years later, because that was September when I went. So 10 years later to that same stadium and puts on a pretty decent performance. Now, he didn't get a full game, but he did inject some life into that organization. So honestly, I thought Cam Newton was going to be done. I think there was really no market for him. I had said that last week, and obviously I was surprised when Carolina brought him back, and it was a good thing for them. I think they knew what it was. Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with Sam Darnold, because they got him on. He's on the hook for an extension. I think $18 million is owed to him, so they're gonna have to figure out a way to move his contract because he's not the guy. And somebody might be out there. There's a team out there that needs a quarterback. Maybe they don't like what they have. Maybe Detroit. I don't know. But if I'm Carolina, I'm figuring out a way to make him look really good and make it seem like, well, it's really not him, it's us type of situation. So we want to move on. So, but he's good. You guys take him. You take a look at him, right? But I don't think that's it for him. So anyway, all right. My favorite part of the show before I get out of here, man, it's my clutch, not so much segment. Basically, where I go through the weekend, I think about players or teams or events that happened that were clutch and things that were not so clutch. Maybe a team lost, maybe you blew a lead, maybe you were just acting the fool. I don't know. So my first candidate today, for those of you who don't know this guy, you need to go know him. His name is Lewis Hamilton. He's the driver, I believe the number 44 Mercedes car in Formula One racing. He is one of my favorite athletes to watch. And you'll be like, well, he's a race car driver. Trust me. These guys are going 200 plus miles per hour. I'm gonna cut them some slack, right? Lewis Hamilton, he just won a huge race in Brazil. Their season's coming to an end here shortly. He's in a points race with another racer called Max Verstappen, who races for the Red Bull team. They're like 14 points apart, and there's only 3 races left, I believe. One in Dubai, one in the United Arab Emirates, and one in Qatar. So listen, this guy is the most winningest Formula One racing driver in history. 8 world titles, 101 first place finishes. I want to say close to 100 podiums. What I mean by podiums means top 3. And not only is doing that, he's doing it in a sport that's predominantly Caucasian. So shout out to him. I love what he does. He's an inspiration, especially because of what he had to go through in the type of sport that he's in and what he's doing and the amount of success that he's displaying right now. And he's looking for his 9th world championship, which is ridiculous. And for those of you who don't watch Formula One racing, and I'm going to get back on camera. For those of you, Formula One racing, it's only 32 drivers that make the rosters every year. All of the clubs or teams have 2 drivers. All 32 of those guys, even the worst teams, even the 32nd driver, those are the best drivers in the world. If you've never had an opportunity to watch it, and it's hard because sometimes they go to different countries. They're going to be in Miami next year. They always come to Austin every year around this time. That was a couple of weeks ago. If you ever have an opportunity to wake up at like 4 a.m, 3 a.m, and watch these guys, dude, it's exhilarating. I love watching it. I'm not a car guy, but I love watching Formula One. So shout out to him. And the reason why he's on this list is because he started 10th, which is hard, which is not, it's not easy to come from 10th to number 1 against the type of competition that he came up against in a track in Brazil. So shout out to him. So, all right, moving right along. Not so much Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield. What are you guys doing? Baker Mayfield, I think he might have played his way out of a contract. I honestly, if the Browns pick up his contract, that's going to be very questionable because I don't think that he's the guy. He can play in the National Football League. He shows us glimpses of that, but him being the guy, him wanting that contract, I don't think the Cleveland Browns should invest that type of money. You're better off just keeping like a Case Keenum or offering him some type of money, but in the back of your mind, you're like, we probably need to go out and get somebody. And then the Browns not really adjusting to that game yesterday. No adjustments were made. Myles Garrett, especially on the defensive side, he basically said, you know what? We really didn't make any adjustments, and you can't do that in football. You can't. You cannot be so prideful that what's working, well, what's not working is not going to continue to. It's not going to work later on. You got to switch it up, and they just didn't. They couldn't do it. So not clutch for them. Clutch. Cam Newton. Just talked about him for the last couple 5-10 minutes. What more else can I say? I'm glad that he's back in the league. I'm glad that he's getting another opportunity, even though he's in the twilight of his career. Hopefully he can bring something and just empty the tank. Just empty the tank. And I think he'll be able to do that. So no, we won't spend some time. And not so clutch. University of Texas. They're actually, and since I've been doing this segment, they're the first repeat offender or candidate. This is their second time on this list. They lost to Kansas over the weekend. And why is that significant? Well, the University of Kansas has not won a road Big 12 game in 35 years. 35 years. I'm 37. Okay. So let that sink in. Texas, who a lot of people say they're back. Texas is back. Hook 'em horns. They're not back. They've never been back. Then Miami get on my nerves too. When Miami lost too, they lost to Florida State. But Texas gets on my nerves too because every year you got a new coach. Oh, Steve Sarkisian, we're back. You're not back. You're not back. And you most certainly don't lose to Kansas, a team that hadn't won. Look, for those of you who don't know, Kansas football literally they had one great year back in like 2006, 2007, where they made the Orange Bowl. And I believe they won the Orange Bowl, right? But other than that, the last 35 years have been just abysmal. And for University of Texas to lose at home to a team that has not won a Big 12 road conference game in 30-something years, get out of here. Not so much. You guys suck. And if I hear anything about Texas football anymore, I don't know what I'll do. I'm liable to do anything at this point. So that's what I got. Well, with that said, that's my time is up. Monday Night Football is getting ready to start. Rams, 49ers, OBJ. He's going to start. Hopefully he'll get the catches. Maybe he'll get the looks. Maybe he can get back to his old self. We'll see how the bright lights in Hollywood will go for him. But other than that, make sure you guys catch me on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. for my NFL Sunday morning talk. Basically breaking down some of the games, going over some news, highlights, and news from around the league, getting you guys ready for those games for Sunday morning and into the evening. So, hey, that's all I got. I got to go. I got stuff to do, and I'm pretty sure you do too. Appreciate you guys for showing up and spending some time with me this evening. Hope you guys are doing well. I guys see you Sunday. This is Clutch Sports Talk live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's go.